No one expected this. The Pittsburgh Steelers just got a triple shot of good fortune without even stepping onto the field. That's right. While the rest of the AFC North struggled, Pittsburgh sat back, rested, and came out ahead. Welcome to the channel, where we break down everything you need to know about your favorite NFL stories with clear, powerful insight. And this week, Steelers Nation has a lot to celebrate. Before we dive into the latest updates, don't forget, before listening to the new news, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a single update. Now, let's move on to the fresh news. While the Steelers enjoyed their bye week, every one of their division rivals stumbled. The Cleveland Browns fell short against the Minnesota Vikings in a game they should have won. Despite Minnesota's messy performance, penalties, turnovers, and shaky protection, the Browns still couldn't close it out, losing 21-17 after a late-game drive sealed their fate. The Baltimore Ravens had their own meltdown. Without Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, and Ronnie Stanley, they were crushed by the Houston Texans, a team that had barely been scoring 16 points per game. The Texans exploded for 44, handing the Ravens a painful defeat that dropped them to a 1-4 start. And then came the Cincinnati Bengals, whose 37-24 loss exposed a defense that looks lost and an offense that simply can't keep up. With Jake Browning at the helm, the spark just isn't there. So, here's the stunning reality. The Steelers gained ground in the AFC North by doing absolutely nothing. While their rivals collapsed, Pittsburgh quietly strengthened its position at the top, standing as the only team with a winning record at 3-1 heading into Week 6. This is shaping up to be a very interesting turn in the division, and the Steelers might just be the last steady force left standing. Stay with me. Things are about to get even more intense. The rest of the AFC North looks like it's falling apart, and the Steelers are quietly building their lead. The Baltimore Ravens have dropped 3 straight games and are battling a long list of injuries. Their next matchup? The high-powered Los Angeles Rams. Not exactly a comforting sight for a struggling team. The Cleveland Browns don't look much better, sitting at 1-4 and facing a brutal stretch ahead. They've got the Steelers next, followed by the explosive Miami Dolphins. Maybe they squeeze out one win there, but even that feels uncertain. Meanwhile, the Bengals are sinking fast. They'll face the Green Bay Packers next week, and it's hard to imagine them pulling off a win there. After that, they'll go head-to-head with the Steelers on a short week under the Thursday night lights, another tough test they may not survive. As for the Ravens, their start has been rough, and with Lamar Jackson's status still unclear, they'll have to take on Matthew Stafford and a Rams offense that's been sharp and relentless. Then comes their bye week in Week 7, but by then, the damage might already be done. If things unfold the way trends suggest, in just 2 weeks the AFC North could look completely different. The Steelers could be sitting proudly at 5-1, while the Bengals and Browns stumble to 2-5, and the Ravens fall to 1-5. That would give Pittsburgh a commanding lead, nearly 3.5 games ahead of their division rivals midway through the season. It's not fantasy. It's a real possibility. The Steelers have found their rhythm, while their opponents are fighting to stay afloat. Some may still bet on Baltimore, but if this pattern holds, there's no denying who truly owns the AFC North right now. Stay with me. This story is only getting better. Let's be real. The Steelers are in a golden position right now. The rest of the division is slipping, but that doesn't mean Pittsburgh can relax. The next 2 weeks are crucial, and how the team handles them could shape the rest of the season. Coming off a bye week, the Steelers have had time to rest, recover, and prepare. And that matters, especially when facing a rookie quarterback like the one the Browns are starting. Mike Tomlin has built a reputation for outsmarting young passers, and his record after a bye speaks for itself. There's no reason Pittsburgh shouldn't take care of business against Cleveland. Then comes Thursday Night Football against Cincinnati, a game that could define their momentum heading into the tougher half of the schedule. If the Steelers handle both the Browns and the Bengals, they'll be sitting at 5-1, setting the tone for the rest of the year. Of course, challenges still lie ahead. Green Bay, Indianapolis, the Chargers, and the Bills, not to mention facing the Ravens twice more when they're healthier. But the next 2 games are about control. They're about sending a message that Pittsburgh isn't just leading the division, they're owning it. So, here's the big question. Will the Steelers ride this wave and win their next 2? I believe they will. The fire, the preparation, and the timing are all in their favor. Stay with me, because the story of this season is just starting to heat up. Now let's turn to the second piece of good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The wide receiver market is starting to open up. Several teams around the league are slipping fast, and their veteran receivers could soon be up for grabs. For a team like Pittsburgh, that's worth watching closely. Take the Las Vegas Raiders, for example. They've dropped to 1-4, losing 4 straight, and their offense looks completely lost. Jacoby Myers, one of their top receivers, is on an expiring contract and has already voiced frustration with his situation. With the Raiders' season spiraling, it's only a matter of time before they start making moves, and Myers could be one of them. Of course, the Steelers might choose to stand pat if Calvin Austin returns soon. If he's healthy, he could rejoin the lineup and strengthen the receiver group alongside George Pickens and Roman Wilson. But if the right opportunity comes along, Pittsburgh could explore a trade to give their offense an extra spark heading into the stretch run. Then there's Philadelphia, and this is where things get interesting. Reports are swirling that A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are frustrated with how little they're being used, especially in the red zone. The Eagles' offense has struggled to find balance lately, and both receivers are reportedly unhappy with their roles. That tension might not lead to a move right away, but it's something the entire league, including Pittsburgh, will be watching closely. The trade deadline is still weeks away, but cracks are already forming across the league. If the Steelers stay alert and make the right call at the right time, they could add another weapon just as the season begins to heat up. Stay with me, because what happens next could change everything. Even though the Eagles tried to air it out more against Denver, the frustration in their locker room likely hasn't disappeared. Still, as long as they keep winning, it's hard to imagine them parting ways with top talents like A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith. Unless one of them demands a trade outright, which seems doubtful, they'll probably stay in Philadelphia. And honestly, the Steelers aren't the type to throw away a first or second-round pick for a deal that risky. But there's one situation that feels far more realistic, and it's brewing in New Orleans. According to trusted reports from inside the Saints organization, the team could start selling before the NFL trade deadline. That's major news. It means veteran players might be up for grabs, and the Steelers could quietly be among the teams watching closely. 2 names immediately stand out: Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Olave, the former first-round pick from Ohio State, is a polished route runner with excellent hands and sharp instincts. He's got that effortless separation every quarterback loves, though his concussion history might make teams a bit cautious. Then there's Shaheed, pure lightning on the field. He's one of the fastest deep threats in football, capable of flipping a game in a single play. Imagine pairing his speed with Calvin Austin 3. That kind of explosive combination would stretch any defense thin. Of course, it all depends on what New Orleans decides to do, but if the Saints start taking calls, Pittsburgh should be listening. And while it might be a long shot, one more name worth keeping in the back of your mind: Jordan Addison. A return to the Steel City would be something special, and with Minnesota struggling, you never know when opportunity might knock. Stay with me, because these trade rumors might just turn into something real. Jordan Addison's situation in Minnesota is getting harder to ignore. The young receiver's talent is undeniable, but so are the headlines surrounding him. Reports say he's been late, skipped walkthroughs, and even spent the early morning hours before the London game exploring the city instead of resting. That same day, he missed the entire first quarter under a team-imposed suspension. Even Justin Jefferson reportedly lost patience and confronted him afterward. Addison still delivered on the field. He caught the game-winning touchdown, but his off-field habits are starting to test the Vikings' patience. Right now, Minnesota sits at 3-2, and while they're not sellers yet, their upcoming schedule is brutal. The Eagles, Chargers, Lions, and Ravens. If they drop several of those games and fall to 3-6, the season could slip away fast. And if that happens, the team might start considering its future. Would Addison be part of that future? That's the question. He's young, gifted, and electric, but also unpredictable. If the Vikings begin taking calls at the trade deadline, Addison's name could surface as a potential move, especially if trust inside the organization keeps wearing thin. Now, here's where things get interesting for Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin has long admired Addison. The two share a history from his college days at Pitt, where he won the Biletnikoff Award. A reunion in black and gold would be a story that writes itself. Of course, the Steelers have been cautious about bringing in players with off-field distractions, especially after moving on from similar personalities in recent years. But the talent Addison brings, his precision, speed, and chemistry potential with the current roster, makes it a tempting thought. What do you think? Should Pittsburgh take the risk and bring Jordan Addison home? Or should they stay focused on the players already in the locker room? Stay with me, because the next part of this story might just change how we see the Steelers' future. When it comes to the next NFL draft, many are calling this quarterback class disappointing, but but that might not be the full story. Sure, several big names haven't lived up to the hype. Players who were supposed to dominate have struggled. Cade Klubnik has been inconsistent, Arch Manning hasn't found his rhythm at Texas, and Drew Aller hasn't taken that next step at Penn State. The list of underperforming stars is long. But hidden beneath the early season chaos are some unexpected standouts, young quarterbacks who are quietly changing the conversation. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's worth paying attention to. Let's start with Dante Moore out of Oregon, calm under pressure, with an arm that can slice through defenses. Then there's John Mateer, a dual threat with explosive playmaking ability, and Ty Simpson from Alabama, whose poise and production have been outstanding. Add in Sam Levitt, a sharp passer with quick instincts, and Carson Beck, whose precision and decision-making at Miami have drawn serious attention, and suddenly, the future looks a lot brighter. Not all of these quarterbacks will declare for the draft, but the class is shaping up far better than people think. In fact, we could see 4 to 6 first-round quarterbacks when all is said and done. For the Steelers' front office, that means flexibility and options. If there's a player they truly believe in, they'll have a chance to move up and get him. The beauty of this year's draft class isn't in the names we expected to succeed. It's in the new ones stepping up. These rising stars are proving that talent and opportunity can rewrite the story at any time. So here's the question for you. If you were calling the shots for the Steelers, how many of these quarterbacks would you spend a first-round pick on? And which one would you choose to lead the next era in Pittsburgh? Stay with me, because the road ahead for the Steelers just might be more exciting than anyone expected.